We are your official source to U.S. higher education through Education USA advisors, working with advisees to provide updated, comprehensive, and unbiased information on higher education in the United States. Nimroz, could you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. In Pakistan, we're a part of United States Educational Foundation, which is also the Fulbright Commission in the country. USCFP promotes mutual understanding between the people of Pakistan and the people of the United States through educational and cultural exchange. We have offices in Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, but we're available for any student that needs support or advising throughout Pakistan through email and call and virtual meetings. Given the current COVID-19 situation, Education USA is still functioning partly virtual, but we're also in person now, and you can access our free advising sessions and services online. USCFP has also authorized prometric testing centers in Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad, which have now resumed operations. You can check out the testing facilities on our website, www.uscfp.org. For any questions, you can contact the relevant department the email is testing@uscfp.org. And that's my spiel for now. I'm going to hand it over to Nimroz now, and she can start the session. Nimroz, I think you're muted.
Thank you, Zane. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. My name is Nimroz, and I will be doing your presentation today. I work for the University of Arizona, and I'm a Global Enrollment Counselor. So the region I cover is South Asia. So that includes Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. I get the opportunity of working with you all, well, students across the globe, and helping them through the admissions process and helping them make the right decision for them as far as their study plans go. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you know we're going to be talking about a pretty important topic because it has to do with a pretty important part of the admissions process, and that's submitting your college essay. So what is a college essay? It's a component of a college or university application. I know sometimes it's not required. So like I know for the University of Arizona, it's not a requirement, but a lot of universities do list it as a requirement. So you want to be prepared for the ones that you are applying to who do request it. It could be a short essay about yourself, or they might provide a specific topic. I know that a lot of times they will provide you with the topic, like for example, through Common App, they provide you with prompts, but some universities, they kind of allow you to decide what you want to speak about. So although that kind of creates an extra job for you, but it's okay because you get an opportunity to talk about what's important to you. And we're going to learn here about how to decide what's important to you and how to shine. So it can also be known as a personal statement on some applications. So like I was saying earlier, this is your opportunity to really shine. So remember, you've already submitted your high school transcripts. You've provided probably your proof of English proficiency and other documents. Sometimes a university may request recommendation letters. So you've already provided all of those details. This is different. This stands apart from those documents. This is an opportunity for them to get to know a personal side of you, not your academic side, right? They already know what your academic strengths are. So remember to focus on the things that make you who you are and try to go beyond what you've already shared with us and try to avoid repeating that information. Okay, so this is also an opportunity to set you aside from other candidates who may have similar qualifications. So for universities who have a very competitive program, and you have to provide your qualifications as well as your essay. Let's say you come in competition with somebody who has similar qualifications as you. That college essay and how well you do on it is going to set you apart and give you a leg up on that applicant. So it's also an opportunity to explain any deficiencies or gaps in your academic history. Sometimes we have borderline candidates, and basically what that means is we have a student who may have had maybe a deficiency in a course or a deficiency in their GPA. This is your opportunity to explain that in your personal essay if you haven't been given a topic, and share what might have come up. Maybe there was a life circumstance that came up that kind of took away from your ability to function in class or to be able to do your very best. Now, this is not going to guarantee that you will be admitted because you provided us with the reason. We'll do our best to accommodate, but it gives us the full picture, right? And we can, based off of that full picture, we can make a better decision as far as whether you are academically admissible or not. So it's usually 650 words or fewer. So it's really good to check out what the requirements are for the college essay and then follow the directions provided. Okay, so what should I write about? As I was saying earlier, you're going to be either provided with the prompt, and this is great, right? Because that takes off a load and you don't have to think about what to write about. You're just going to begin writing. But sometimes you're not going to be provided with the prompt or topic, so you got to be prepared to think about what you want to talk about. You need to be able to share your story. So maybe something that's important to you, something captivates you, time in your life where you decided that you wanted to get into a specific field and how that evolved. Like, this is your opportunity to talk about whatever makes you shine, whatever your future vision is, your goals are, what you plan on doing when you join our university, and how you plan to make an impact on campus or even in the future in your career field. Let us know. We want to know, and don't be shy. So, are college essays necessary? So this is a loaded question. Let's get started. They're not always necessary. Like I was saying, at the University of Arizona, we don't require college essays. So it's up to you to provide one. Do you meet the minimum criteria? So if you don't meet the minimum criteria and you have the option to provide a college essay, I think it's a good idea to provide one. Like we were talking, it's an opportunity to explain any deficiencies you may have on your college transcripts or in your application, and which is important, right? Because sometimes we have a story or a whole picture that we're not able to share with the admissions officer just by submitting our documents. So take this opportunity to share that, hey, maybe this happened in my life, or I had to take off because I had an ill family member, or I became ill. I'm not saying that, once again, this is what's going to get you into the university, but it helps with us it helps us understand what was going on. So if you're applying to one of their competitive programs, like an honors program or a competitive program like engineering or their business college or the law program, it's probably going to be required that you submit a college essay, but once again, you're going to have to check with the individual universities. Do they offer any scholarships that require a college essay or personal statement? I know that for our university, our scholarship is based strictly on merit, so based on your GPA, but I know other colleges and universities require you to write a college essay, and that's what's going to determine whether or not you're eligible for it. So sometimes it's optional. So in that case, if it's optional, should you write the essay or should you not? I would say if it's optional, go ahead and go for it. It shows initiative on your end. Obviously, it's up to you, but I always say that when we see somebody who's taking that initiative to tell us their story or explain what's going on in their life or what's important to them, I mean, it's intriguing, right? It's intriguing, and it shows that you're very determined to be a part of the college or university. So it's your opportunity to once again shine above your transcripts and grades. So I would say go ahead, but obviously it is up to you. So if they specifically say no, should you still upload your transcript? You shouldn't. The thing is certain colleges or universities, the ones who don't require you to provide a college essay are usually the larger universities, and they probably don't have the resources or time to go through your college essay as part of the admissions process. So it's better to just follow the directions because you don't want to make it seem like you're not able to follow instructions. So do college essays hold more weight than my academic history, and can a college essay hurt me? So these are very important things. It's really case by case. Does it hold more weight than an academic history? I wouldn't say so. So it depends on the college. So let's say, for example, at our university, the academic history holds more weight than a college essay because we don't require a college essay. But for example, for a university where it's hard to get into certain programs and they require a college essay, let's say you're in line with another applicant who has the exact same qualifications as you, that college essay is going to hold a lot of weight. So it's either going to make or break you. So you want to remember that because it could either bump you up and make you more qualified than the person you're competing against, or it could kind of give you a leg down. So remember, it can hurt you if it is a requirement, but so it's really important to take the time to prepare this essay and edit, have somebody else have a look at it, make sure the topic you're writing about is something you're passionate about. If it's a prompt that you've been provided, make sure that you're answering the question that's being asked. So set yourself up for success. So how can you do that? Start the process early. It's not going to be a done deal the moment you start. It's going to take time. So start early. Start a couple of months early because that gives you an opportunity to start writing or create a draft, jot down some ideas, and then at a later date you can come back and revisit it. The reason why it's always good to come back and revisit something is because with the fresh pair of eyes, you're going to notice a lot more errors, or you're going to notice some structure issues. And so it's good to kind of take a break from something and come back and give yourself an opportunity to edit with a fresh pair of eyes. Read the instructions carefully. Please make sure that you're answering the question that's being asked and you're submitting a college essay when it's required. So yes, please follow the instructions carefully, determine whether there's one question or two questions, and try to stay focused. Start with an attention grabber. So this could be a quote that you like, or a quote that's related to the topic you're going to be speaking about, or you can start with a fun or interesting fact about you, maybe where you were born, or something interesting about you that you feel like sets you aside from others. Maybe something interesting about a family member, somebody who inspires you. So yeah, start with an attention grabber. Remember, like, college evaluators have about 4 to 6 minutes to go through every application. So make it stand out. Allow them to get to know you. So basically you want to be authentic, right? You don't want to have your college essay sound like everybody else's college essay. And it won't sound like everyone else's essay if you're actually being true to yourself. So let them get to know you. So obviously you can talk about challenges, but it is not necessary. I know that I've seen college essays where students like to talk about challenges that they've overcome, and that's great. But I want you to know that that's not all you need to talk about in your college essay. If you're given the opportunity to talk about whatever you want, you can also talk about your vision for the future, what you plan on doing in your major, what you plan on doing at a university while you're studying this major, and what is important to you. So don't forget to structure and format your essays. So remember, we want to have an introduction, a body, as well as a conclusion. And then just generally, you want to have like the most common font, Times New Roman. Size 12 is usually the best bet. And then you want to double space your essay. I can't emphasize this enough. You want to proofread. Proofread, proofread, proofread. When you're done proofreading, give it to somebody you trust to also proofread. Remember, like grammatical errors or like showing up to an interview with ripped jeans and being late. So you don't want to make a bad first impression. So please remember to go through your essay, review it, and then when you're done reviewing it, have someone else review and edit it for you. And that's why it's so important to start the process early. Just going back to the first point. So yeah, once again, I probably will mention this a couple of times. Have another set of eyes, have a look at your essay. Okay, 1 second. So things you want to avoid on your essay. You don't want to repeat yourself. So remember, as I was saying earlier, you've already provided us with your academic history, your proof of English proficiency, and your application. So all of the information on there, we don't need to see it again on your essay. It's kind of like we don't want to see like a copy and paste of your resume either. So this is actually where you want to talk about the essay topic. Whether it's been provided to you or not, we don't want to see your academic history. We already have that information. It's also a good idea to not get too personal. Yeah, we want to get to know you, but I guess basically you want to choose a topic that you're comfortable talking about at a dinner table with friends or with families or with somebody you respect. So avoid controversial topics that can offend somebody. So some topics it's just safe to steer away from are politics and religion. And then try not to cram too many themes or subjects into your essay. So although I know that we're such multifaceted people, so there's so much to talk about, right? But the thing is choose a topic and stick to it. Or if the topic is provided, stick to that topic. Answer the question that you are trying to, try to figure out what message you're trying to convey to your admissions counselor and stay focused on that message. We don't want to be talking about too many things because then it sort of blurs the message you're trying to send. And once again, don't forget to edit. Okay, 1 second. I'm just having an issue with my internet. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the steps really quickly again with you guys. So the first step is to get organized. So you are probably applying to multiple colleges or universities. So the best thing you want to do for yourself to keep you organized is make some sort of a chart. List the school's names, what their requirements are, if they require a college essay or not, the word limit of the college essay if they require it, and also what the topics are, and then the application deadline. Make a list of these things so you can stay on top of it, right? If you have it all in one place, then you can always refer back to that one chart. Whereas if you have information everywhere, it's sometimes we get lost in the mess. So it's important to get organized. Brainstorm. Come up with the topic you're excited about. Remember, this is only the case if you haven't been provided a topic. I don't know, like maybe you can talk about what inspired you to study a specific topic. Maybe you're into medicine, or maybe you want to talk about what led you to choosing the destination that you're going to be studying at. What inspired you to go there? Maybe the most influential person you've ever met, or maybe it's somebody you haven't met. It's somebody you've known, that you've heard about or you've seen on TV or on the internet. Honestly, the sky's the limit. So when you're picking a topic, you really want to consider a couple of things. You want to consider, does this topic matter to me? Because it shows. When something matters to you, it shows in your writing because you're passionate about it. Will it tell the reader something different about you and showcase who you are? So does it share anything interesting or different about you that would set you aside from another applicant? Is it specific? So remember, we want to keep the thoughts collected. So basically what that means is it focused? Does it send a message, a clear message, or is it all over the place? So this is where it's going to really help you to take the time to edit, because you're going to notice these things. Can you discuss it in detail? So remember, you have up to 650 words. You want to make sure you are able to discuss it in detail. If it's a topic that you can't really discuss in detail, then it's probably not the best topic for you. So I recommend thinking about those things. Make a plan. So remember, when you were making the plan in the beginning, this is just another stage of planning. So does the question include more than one part? And do they have multiple questions? And make sure you're answering all of the questions that they're asking if you have been provided a prompt. I guess, what are we trying to learn about you? Try to decipher, what is the admissions officer wanting to learn, and have I conveyed that in my essay? Let's say we provide you with topics, and I know Common App provides a lot of topics. Which one appeals to you the most? Honestly, it's great when you can choose a topic. So pick one that excites you. Something's like, oh yeah, like something that triggers an emotion in you or a feeling. Go with that topic and write about it and share in detail why it's such a significant topic to you. So another thing you want to do is write a draft. So remember, in your draft, you don't want to aim for perfection, because it's going to take a lot of time. And if you're going to be writing multiple college essays, you don't want to spend too much time on one essay. So what you want to do is just get everything off your chest and off your head. Take all your ideas and jot them down on a piece of paper, and then come back to it later and try to refine them. Okay. So edit your draft. Take a break and revisit. So like I was saying earlier, sometimes when we're involved in something a lot, it's easy to miss the details. That's why it's nice to begin somewhere and then step away from it. And the only way you're going to be able to step away from it is if you have time to. So step away from it and then come back to it. And I assure you, you will find more grammatical errors, sentence structure issues. You will find all sorts of things when you come back, and it's a great opportunity to edit your draft. So once again, you want to structure it. You want to see, does it flow and make sense? Will it make sense to the reader? And this is why it's great to have somebody else read it, is because they'll be able to tell you honestly whether or not they're understanding the point you're trying to make. And is there irrelevant information you can delete? So sometimes when we're excited to write about something, I know you just had all your ideas poured out onto this piece of paper, try to, I guess, refine it. Are there things that are not really important to share, or some things that are irrelevant or don't really go along with the topic that you've chosen? Eliminate those things, because you have to stay within your word limit anyways. So I know some college essays, you can't even upload the essay if it doesn't meet their word requirement, or if there's too many words. So eliminate the ideas that don't serve a purpose to your essay, and keep it within the limit, as well as try to keep it inside of the parameters of the topic. So it's not last actually, if you want to finalize your draft. So you're going to double check once again and have a friend or family member look it over, even your school counselor. If you want your school counselor to look over, ask them if they have time to look it over. I think that would be a great place to go for some feedback on your essay. So you're going to repeat the process most likely if you're applying to multiple college essays. So my advice to you is to not send out the same college essay to every college you apply to, and to remember to tailor it to whatever they're asking. Sometimes there might be overlap in what they're asking, or similarities to what information they're looking for, and that's great. But remember that you want to make sure that it is relevant to what they're asking. So you may need to edit, or you may need to write a completely different topic. And that's why it's good to allow for time, so that you can go and make those commitments to these colleges and have your application submitted on time. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation. I'm sure you guys have some questions, so I am just going to.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So everybody, whatever questions you do have, just start jotting them below in our Q&A box, and I'll like facilitate it, and then Nimroz can answer it. But start writing down your questions in the Q&A box, okay? Even if your hand's raised, just whatever you wanted to say out loud, just write in the Q&A box and we'll get to it. I'll start with some of the questions that we already have. Okay, so the first question is, they're asking, can we write about our lives?
Yeah, so if the topic hasn't been provided and it's a personal essay, yes, you are allowed to write about your life. But like I was saying, you don't want to get too personal to the point where it's a conversation you wouldn't have at dinner. So at a dinner with family and friends or people you respect and care about, it's a topic that you feel comfortable sharing. So yes, absolutely. We want to know about you, and which means if we want to get to know you, it's going to be information about your life, right? So yes, you are more than welcome to share about your life.
Okay. Okay, someone's asking, pick a topic means something so they're asking another interesting question. When you say pick a topic, they're asking, does it mean something we like, or it must be related to the program?
So when they say you can pick a topic, it's whatever you want. And that's why I think it's a little bit challenging, is because when you say whatever you want, what does that mean? Because like if the sky's the limit, then I would say to pick something that's going to demonstrate basically who you are, like allows you to shine through. So if you feel like you're going to shine through by talking about something you like, I would go with that topic. But if you want to talk about something you chose as a career field, then you can also talk about that and shine through. Like you can talk about, hey, I chose this career field, and this is the reason why I chose this career field, because when I was 8 years old, this happened and this inspired me to want to help this. And now I'm here pursuing this education, and this is what I plan on doing, right? So like with the topic like that, obviously there's more of a pathway to follow, which is going to be nice because it's not going to be all over the place. You're going to have a line to follow as you go through, and it's going to have a flow. Whereas with the topic where it's all about you or something you like, you're going to have to figure out how to focus that. And focus on what it is that you're speaking about. So honestly, you can talk about whatever.
Okay, so this is a really good question. What are some cliches we should avoid while writing an essay?
What are some cliches we should avoid? So I know earlier I mentioned the challenges. And I'm not saying it's wrong to share challenges. It's great to share challenges. It's not counterproductive, even though it sounds counterproductive to talk about challenges, because the goal of these essays is to not only share your challenge, but the challenges and how you overcame them, right? So it's an opportunity to show how you're resilient. But I feel like sometimes a lot of essays we get are talking about challenges. This talk about something that, I don't know, makes you happy or something that excites you about the future. It doesn't necessarily have to be about a challenge you overcame. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't focus only on challenges, also focus on the things that excite you. So challenges sometimes become a cliche. We sometimes think that we might get the listeners' ear, or that we'll get their soft spot. But the thing is yes, you most likely will get our soft spot, but the thing is it doesn't really allow you to shine through. Whereas if you talk about something you love or you're passionate about, you're really going to shine through. So I really think people should try to do that as well.
No, definitely. And we have another question. This is a good question. It's more of like a technical essay-based question, but I guess they're asking personal pronouns are encouraged or not. What I think they're trying to say is, can they talk about it in first person, third person?
Yeah, so with the personal essay, you can speak in first person. Yeah, absolutely. Because I guess it's not a research paper. So since it's a personal essay and personal would be about you, you're able to use personal pronouns. Yeah.
Perfect. This is an interesting one. What should the level of language be like when you're writing an essay? I guess they're talking about like reading level or writing level. What sort of expectations should they come when coming to
Right.
the
That's a great question. Actually, I'm really glad you asked it. We want you to write the language you're comfortable writing in. So we don't want you to be using a thesaurus and looking up all the difficult words out there that you wouldn't normally use, because chances are you may not even use it correctly and it's going to show through the essay. So not saying it's not good to try to use new words. It's excellent that you're looking up new words and ways of saying a single thing. But the thing is, it's important to stick to the language you're used to. So long as everything flows, there's no grammatical errors, spell check is good. That matters more than using bigger words or more complicated words. So I would say steer away from the things that you wouldn't normally do and stick to what you do. Like as far as how you would normally write, because then you don't have to worry. That's one less thing to worry about, right? Is making a sentence that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, stick to the language you normally would use.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I come across a lot of the times where I'm like, this word, it sounds fancy, but I can
Yeah,
tell it's not something it's going with the rest of your essay.
exactly.
And this is really interesting. This is something when I'm reviewing essays with like advisees and students, we come across a lot. Is they're asking if you could give us one tip on how to grab the admission officer's attention in the first 10 seconds of them reading our essay, what would it be? Like, how can they do that?
So what I would do is I would start, well, like an example is you could start with a quote, right? Like your favorite quote, or you could start with a point in your life. You could start, rather than starting with like an introduction to yourself, start with a point in your life. So like, on this day, I was doing this when this, basically like, so for me, or I could, here, let me start over because I feel like I'm not focused right now. So let's say you had a life event, right? So instead of like starting with introducing yourself, I would go straight into the life event, right? The life event that inspired you. Or if there's this important person in your life, rather than talking about what you're going to write about in your college essay, go straight into that person and introduce that person, that this person was so and so, and he inspired me to do this. Or I saw this person doing this, and he inspired me to become a medical professional. Another thing you can do is tell me about a place you visited, somewhere you were born, right? I mean, the sky's the limit. I would start with a detail, is I guess what I'm trying to say, is start with a detail that is exciting, right? You don't have to start off with like the regular sentences we start an essay off with. That today I will be talking about this, this, and this. Like, I wouldn't start that way. Just start with something that you think is an interesting detail that you want to capture in your essay, and then go from there.
Another interesting one. Can we mention something that we think is unique about us in the essay?
Absolutely. That's what we want. We want to know something unique about you. We see everything else, right? We see all the academic coursework, we see your grades. And yes, it's very important, but the thing is we want to know who you are as a person, because that is a reflection of what you will be like on campus, what you will be like in the program you're in, how you're going to make a difference in the community with your unique personality, or how you're going to make a difference through club associations. Like, we want to see that, because it's a benefit to our campus as well to know about your unique personalities, because we want diversity.
Yes. Another good question. If your grades are not good, would an excellent essay help you in getting admission in the college?
So that's a great question. Academics are important, and so is your college essay. So what I'm going to say is, although college essays aren't always required. So let's say you're applying to a college or university where a college essay is not required and it's strictly on GPA or merit. Your college essay is not going to make a difference because that university is focused on academics. However, if you're applying to a university where they're accepting both academics and a college essay, I'm not going to say that you will for sure get guaranteed admission because you provided a college essay, but it's going to help the admissions evaluator see a full picture. So remember, you would need to be like a borderline candidate where you're not your grades are not completely off, and then that might help give you a leg up or push you up a bit, but it really depends on the university and the admissions evaluator, because like remember, academics are still important. We want to make sure that we're admitting somebody who's going to be able to keep up with the coursework, right, and the requirements. So yes, that's important, but you are also important and who you are. So we have to find a good balance. So I can't 100% say that a good essay or an amazing essay is going to get you that admission, especially because academic coursework is still very important at a university level.
We have another question, which is, please share strategy on how to mention faculty and the course you want to study. Like, is that something in an undergraduate essay? Should they do that? Should they not do that? And if they do it, any like strategies on how it can become an effective essay if they do so?
Sorry, would you mind explaining that again?
So basically, he's asking that if you could share a strategy on how to mention faculty and the course you want to study, like let's say for University of Arizona, is that something they should even be doing in like their undergraduate essay or not really? Should they mention like a faculty member or like a course they're interested in studying at University of Arizona, for example? Is that something they should do or not really?
If you don't have like a specific, if we're not asking you a specific question, I don't see why not. Like if you're saying that this faculty member is somebody I would like to study under, or I would like to do research with, or inspires me, or maybe it's a faculty member that represents the region you're coming from, and that might inspire you as well. And I mean, why not? Of course you can mention that. Yeah, we would love to hear. We would love to hear why you would like to study under that person, or what it is about that faculty member that draws you to them, or what you would like to, what is your purpose of studying under them? You know, yeah, for sure. You absolutely can do that at the undergraduate level.
This question you already answered, and it was also on the slides, but just again, how many words should the essay be, like the word limit, just if you could repeat that?
Yeah, so usually it's the cap is 650 words. But some usually the minimum is 250, so it's case by case. So all universities have different word requirements, but usually it's going to fall between 250 and 650, and you don't want to go above that amount. Whatever their word limit is don't even try going above it, because sometimes you won't even be able to upload the college essay.
Okay. This I think is in regards to something from the presentation where we talked about religion. Someone's asking if they attended a religious school, shall he, she mention it or avoid mentioning it?
In your essay or in your essay?
Yeah, I think in their essay and even generally maybe like overall in their application. I think for both parts.
Yeah, so I mean, if you attended a religious essay, I mean a religious class, you're welcome to mention it. I think what I'm trying to say about avoiding topics related to religion is your opinions on religion or your perspectives on religion that somebody might find offensive. So those are the types of things you want to avoid. Mentioning that you went to a religious school and perhaps you met somebody at the religious school that was an important part of your life, and how, like, in a reason why you are where you are today, or maybe you learned something that inspired you. I mean, you can mention that, but you just want to steer away from sharing anything that shares a perspective that could be found offensive to somebody else.
Definitely. Another intriguing question. Do we need to use references from literature to support an idea we're talking about? enough?
No, it's not necessary. No. So because it's a personal essay, you don't need to do that at all. Unless you want to, you're more than welcome to. But with the personal essay, it's your own ideas. So you can go wherever you want with it and you don't need to quote literature at all.
Okay. Now, this is a question that's like repeatedly here, which is I think people are getting they're a bit confused about the terminology. Usually, when we're talking about undergraduate personal essay, how is that different from like what we might hear about, like a personal statement or statement of purpose that's usually for graduate schools? Like, what would be like a difference between the two? Some people might
So
just be like,
the undergraduate essay versus the personal statement or purpose of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
study. Well, I guess the difference would be that the one at the graduate level is going to be more targeted towards the program you're going to study. So the purpose of study is not going to be or the personal statement is not going to be quite as open-ended as an undergraduate personal statement or essay. So that one is specifically, you're going to be telling the admissions evaluator why you should be admitted into their program and the reasons why you want to specialize in that program, right? So because of the limited amounts of seats in most master's or graduate level programs, you want to demonstrate why you should receive a seat in that program. Whereas at the undergraduate level, you're basically trying to get admission into the university, right? And then if you want, you can focus on the program you're interested in, but it's not quite as targeted to the program that you're applying to.
This is and the next question is something a pattern I also see a lot, is they're asking, can we talk about our parents' profession in an essay? Is
Yeah,
that
of course you
something?
can. Yeah, absolutely you can.
And this comes again, like this other question comes about like tone of essay, something I often go back with advisees. Someone's asking, how funny can it be? Can we make it sound a little funny or comedic or comic?
Yeah, so I mean, it's good to laugh and it's good to have fun, right? Um, Obviously, if you want to have a part of your essay that's funny, that's okay. Like if you were to share a joke or something funny that happened, or um, I don't know, be funny as a part of the essay, but you don't want your whole essay to be just a big like comedic relief, right? You want to still be serious in your essay. Basically, like I was saying, you want to think about if you were going to have dinner with your family or friends, how is that conversation going to go? Is the whole conversation, there's going to be some formalities in the dinner, right? And in that same way, when you're writing a paper or a personal essay to a university, you want to remember those formalities. You don't want to be joking the whole time. There's certain things you don't want to talk about. There's certain things you shouldn't be sharing. You want to be mindful of the audience, right? So I think it's always important to think about the audience and whether or not they want, if you talking about something funny, is it going to capture what you are really, the message you're trying to portray? Like, what are you trying to portray with the humor? Like, I would be curious, right? And is it going to get you into the university? Is it going to give you a leg up? Those are all things you want to consider before you write anything, or if you decide you want to be funny in your essay. But yeah, I mean, humor is welcome, but I think things should be limited.
Definitely. Somebody's asking, would it be acceptable or okay if they shared details about their journey of getting a scholarship in grade 11, grade 12, senior year, sophomore year of high school and whatnot? Can they talk about that journey of getting that scholarship?
Yeah, we would love to hear about it. Yeah, if you were able to talk about that in detail, the journey as well as where it led you and what you plan on doing with that scholarship, yeah, we want to hear about it.
Okay. Can we write about our academic research and subject? If they've done some research, can they talk about that in their essays?
So if it's something that's not shown, like as far as academics go, if it's not something that's already been shown in your transcripts, you can go for it. But if it's something you've already mentioned in your transcripts, I wouldn't really repeat yourself unless it's like something you're going to show in greater detail. Like this is a research project I did, and then go into detail about why you did that research, what you learned from it, how it's inspired you to study this program now. Yeah. But if it's just like repeating that I did academic research while I was in high school, or I did a research project while I was in high school and not really being able to go into details about it and like build a story, I would steer away from it.
Perfect. This is another good one, and I'll also answer this a little. But to start off, how can we finalize the draft if we're not sure?
That's a great question. You're going to finalize the draft, but if you're not sure, this is where you want to, lean over to the person next to you. So, does Education USA provide assistance with college essay writing? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So
so
like,
definitely, I just want to share it with everyone.
yeah.
Just you can sign up for our free advising services, and we do go over your essay, and we can give you some tips and like some advice, like, okay, you can fix this, fix that. So we are also a free resource available. We don't charge any money. You can definitely connect with us as well.
Yeah, and let's say you still want an extra pair of eyes to look over it. Remember, look around you. There's people who love and care about you and they want to see you succeed. So I would definitely ask them, hey, can you have a look at my college essay? You can ask a teacher, your high school guidance counselor, your friends, your brother, your sister, whoever it is, like have them look it over.
And I guess Nimroz, like one other thing I would want to ask you is like a few of my like students have asked me this in the past. Some schools at times well before application seasons, like in the thick of it, some schools are okay, their admissions offices, if a student sends over their draft, would that be okay with you at University of Arizona, or is that something you guys would discourage? Like, don't send it to us or ask opinion about a draft.
So it's different with our university because we don't require a personal essay.
Okay.
So for us, you can send us a draft, but it doesn't really hold any weight because we focus on academics. So I think it would depend on the university and how much time and resources they have allocated to reading over college essays. What I would do is if you feel like you want, you know what, even though we're a university that doesn't go over college essays, I've had a student do that and I did go over it. So I think it depends on who the admissions representative is.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would send a college essay over and I would see if they're able to review it or look it over. But I can't guarantee because it's really case by case and depends on how much time they have to go over your college essay. Because remember, they're reviewing thousands of applicants. So it just depends on time and resources.
Definitely. Another question we have is, can we write about the scope of the field in the essay that we admire to get? I think essentially, can they talk about like, if they're interested in, let's say, engineering, can they talk about the scope of engineering and what all they can do, and that's why they want to apply for engineering?
Yeah, we would love to hear about that. That's actually very interesting. We want to know why you're interested in this field and what you would like to do with it. Yeah, I think that's actually a great topic. If you didn't have a topic given to you, if you want to talk about why you want to do something and the scope of it and how you would like to, I guess, develop in it, we would love to hear about it.
Another question is, and it's something I've also experienced a lot of times while checking essays, would you generally recommend or like should we avoid using contractions in essay like can't or don't, I've, like stuff like that? Should they use contractions or just like write the whole word? I cannot, I have, I do not.
Since it's a personal essay, I think it's okay. Yeah, like obviously if you can avoid them, I think it's best to avoid them, but it's okay to have them in there. I mean, sometimes they're hard to avoid, but I think for a personal essay, because it's not an academic essay or a research paper, it's okay to have those in there.
This is an interesting question, which isn't essay related, but I'll just get to it. They're asking if a student is more than the age of 40, is he is he or she able to apply for admission for
Of
undergrad?
course. Yeah, of course. The age has nothing to do with it. It has to do with your admissibility. So if you're able to provide us with all of your documentation, so whatever the requirements are for a specific university, and if they meet our admission requirements, that's basically what matters, not your age.
Just going over the questions. Can it be a motivational essay like what I would be after I complete this degree or this course?
Yeah, that sounds like a great topic. I would actually, if it's a topic you can write 650 words about or whatever the word limit is and write in detail and passionately, I would definitely choose that topic.
Perfect. Okay, and I'm just going to go over like 2 more questions and then we'll conclude. So someone's asking how much weightage or importance does the writing style of the essay hold over the content within it? For example, 2 people can write unique essays about themselves, but one's writing skills may be cliched while the others may be a lot more absorbing and attractive.
That's a great question. I feel like that's a hard question for me to answer because it's going to really depend on who is looking at your paper. Like for one, I think that what matters most is obviously you want your grammar and everything to be your sentence structure, all of that matters to an admissions evaluator. So you want to make sure that you're on top of that. But as far as the content goes, I mean, I can't say what content is better than the other, because if it's all personal information, it's going to really depend on what speaks to the person who's reading it, right? So it's going to be what stands out. It doesn't really matter what content you share though. Like I wouldn't worry too much about somebody who might be a fancy writer versus somebody who just writes an essay regularly. The point is have you met the requirements of the question? Have you stayed on topic? Have you focused? Have you shined through what you're writing? And is your information structured? There's no grammatical errors. I feel like that matters more than being a fancy writer. So the content, that's really hard to say because it really depends on the content and the person who's reading it.
100%. And Nimroz, just last 2 questions now.
Sure.
One of them is, can we write about any practical experience, like a training at an international organization that we received?
Yeah, I think that if you're able to, well, the thing is, are you able to go into depth about this practical experience? Are you able to express, just basically tell us more about it and how it is a reflection of you? How, I guess we want to know about you. So if it's able to demonstrate you or your interests or your passions and you're able to write 650 words about it, I think you should definitely go for it. Yes.
Okay, and the last question I'm going to conclude this Q&A with, it's not necessarily about essays, but it's a question which we get a lot, and it's they're asking, does University of Arizona provide scholarships on academic basis, especially for international students?
So yes, our scholarship is strictly based on merits. So it's based on your GPA, so your transcript. So we don't require test scores. We just need your high school transcripts. So if you're in high school still, we require grades 9, 10, and 11, and we will evaluate those and determine your scholarship eligibility. So, and if you're done high school, it's we require transcripts grades 10, 11, and 12. And then we will evaluate those and determine scholarship eligibility. Our minimum GPA cutoff for scholarships is a 3.0.
Okay, and this applies to international students as well, right?
Yeah, that's our international Global Wildcat Award just for international students.
Perfect. Okay. So I just now want to say a huge thank you to you, Nimroz, for taking out your time for this informative session. I hope this was also helpful to our audience.
Yes, thank
I think it
you.
was a very good session, really cleared a lot of doubts I had, a lot of doubts other people had. And if anyone has any questions about today's session or about U.S. higher education, please reach out to your Education USA advisor. You can sign up for our free advising services on educationusa.pk. Also, don't forget to keep following our EdUSA Pakistan social media pages to stay up to date about our events and happenings. Just like this lovely session with Nimroz today, we're usually connecting with a lot of US universities and they do a lot of sessions. So please do stay in touch with us on social media so you can see it. And apart from that, I would like to thank everybody for joining, and I'm now going to conclude the session. Hope everybody
Thank you,
had a good
everybody.
day.
Thank you, Zane. And thank you, everyone, for joining.
Bye.
Bye.